Hi everyone. Today's video is something that I would class as a strength of mine and a weakness of mine. Sometimes I go a little too far. What we're going to be talking about today is being positive. Here in this situation, I've been really submissive. I suppose that is a positivity as well, but I've clearly shown the vehicles coming from the opposite direction that they can have that priority and come through. But I'll be quite resolute sometimes in doing the correct thing. Merge in turn, for example, you've all seen me strongly, and that's probably the best word to describe it, strongly show other people what's going on. Now, this scenario, the other vehicle coming from the other way, the Jeep has been submissive. I'm not going to go too quick, I'm not going to rush through because there's a lot going on about, and this gap between myself, curb and Jaguar was quite small. But this is what we're going to look at today. I've got a number of clips that we're going to have a little look through, and I'm going to do a little bit of driving myself in certain situations and just explain how I'm being positive, where I'm being submissive, and whether we can get this balance a little better, me included. Situations like this do require a fair bit of positivity sometimes, but rightly so at the moment. My view is being submissive. They can't clear the junction. But now look at the queue further up. It's starting to move. My viewer tries to be positive and show a little bit of a communication, but the oncoming vehicles turning right ignore them. I think my viewer got that balance perfect. It was just the oncoming driver totally ignored it. My first car was a Vauxhall Astra. I know it says Opel Astra on this car vertical report. However, I'm pretty certain you know it to be the same thing. And when I got that car, I didn't do any checks to make sure it wasn't stolen, to make sure the mileage was correct and that it hadn't been damaged. Nowadays, it's much easier to give yourself that peace of mind. You simply put the registration or the VIN number into the Car Vertical website, and within 90 seconds or about, you're going to be sent a detailed report giving you this information. Some of these reports have photos detailing the damage, and this Vauxhall Astra's been hit at the front, quite heavily. It's not been stolen though, and the mileage looks as though it's all legit. There's no financial restrictions on this vehicle, and the timeline shows since it was damaged in 2019, it must have been repaired, because it's had many successful MOTs in the meantime. If we go back to the pictures a second, it looks as though this Vauxhall Astra is in a lot of hundreds of vehicles that have all been damaged. It's more common than you think, and many of these vehicles will be returned to the road. Therefore, it's even more important for you to check out your next potential purchase using Car Vertical. Remember to use the code Ashley or the links in the description, and you can save yourself 20%. Thanks, Car Vertical. Here's some of my footage from a road very close to me. Positive or submissive? You've probably seen this road many times on many of my videos. It's a classic road for meeting situations, and I thought everyone worked off the other people, whether it be me or me working off them, pretty well down this stretch. Let me know what you think. Did you notice my reduction in speed in that last meeting situation? That's how I was submissive. The alteration of speed here again was crucial to understanding. So this can happen with speed, it can happen with positioning, it can be a whole number of things. It can be an indication as well. I suppose those things are signals in a way, don't forget. However, it's this communication that people often get wrong. And quite often as well, their sort of ego gets in the way. And what I mean by that is people quite often, especially when I've got the roof box on, they'll see me being really positive and then they'll battle against it. And I've mentioned many times before that this bright green Focus ST doesn't do me any favours either. Don't forget, if you go too far with this positivity, up to the point where the collision should happen, you should always be the one who goes, sound, whatever, let the other person do what they wish to do. This is a difficult situation that I'm sure that most of us have encountered. Simon does a brilliant job in holding back, allowing the vehicles to clear because of the parked cars on the opposite side. But because of the length of the obstruction, when they start to go, it's hard to stop them. There's a gap on its way, and Simon tries to be positive. Notice the length of the movement also. As you can see, the cars are awkwardly spaced. Just close enough and not quite far enough. Now Simon gets even more positive, and I think it's the right call. There is a space opposite, don't forget. Now it's Simon's time to go. Watch closely the position he takes up. Nice and central, nice and early, for best view. And that's for other people, not just Simon. I'll be interested in what people think of this final pass of the parked car. Was Simon a little too positive there? In any case, he does a great job with this vehicle on the left that's difficult to see and be seen. Many drivers drive competitively, and this is where I find the conflict comes from, where I'm trying to be positive for the correct reasons, and then other people just take it as competition, as I'm trying to get in front. So you've got to look out for that if you're trying to do things in the correct manner. Look out for those people who are uneducated. Smiler Bob does a good job with this merge and turn situation, and so does the driver of the orange Vauxhall behind. In the end, they do take their positivity a few steps too far by driving towards the driver of the maroon Toyota Yaris. But it is the driver of this maroon Yaris that's the catalyst to chaos. Everyone else seemed to get the memo about merge and turn quite nicely. The driver of the Vauxhall, although taking it a few steps too far, is being positive for doing the correct thing. The driver of the Yaris is being positive for just being stubborn. Easy thing to remember though, two positives often make a negative. It's situations like this that quite easily escalate into road rage. When you see it happening, don't let it happen. Another one from Smiler Bob, where he said he should have been less aggressive. I disagree. Just quite positive for me, but still able to sort it out easily. This road has featured on the channel before, on an analysis clip, and we have another meeting situation up ahead that my viewer tries to be positive and takes it a little far in my opinion. This next traffic karma measure has no one there, so this one goes smoothly, but it's the following one that we're going to be having problems at. The one where my viewer should be given priority. I think if I spotted the tractor coming through the traffic karma measure, I would have slowed and allowed them to finish. But the other vehicles behind definitely take advantage. My viewer dealt with the tractor nicely, but then gets a little riled at the others. What do you think of the positivity here? Too much? Another fairly common situation where you've got to try and be positive to communicate to the oncoming cars and lorries. I think I would have stayed submissive a little longer because of the queue a little bit further up. If my viewer hadn't have closed the space down, most of these vehicles would have flowed past easier. The balance wasn't quite right there, and ironically it ends up delaying my viewer even more. Unfortunately, I do need to state the obvious sometimes for people. The driver of this Renault was terrible. It looks as though my viewer also slows to reprimand. Anyone else notice the vehicles that are up ahead at the lights waiting? The classic situation where you need to be positive or submissive. However, both of these drivers I don't think were. Neither paid attention to the other. In this scenario, no one has priority, don't forget. You've got to work it out between yourselves. Both of these drivers had reasons why they maybe should have gone first, but both didn't do a very good job. Just remember, you can't be positive if you've got nowhere to go. As you can see, it didn't get them very far either. For me, this is just plainly wrong. There's only one oncoming car. Just let it finish and you can go through straight after.
Give way sign is there. Give way sign is over there.
This has nothing at all to do with being positive. It's just being an arse.
Learn how to drive.
Look at the speed they take this next corner, and on the wrong side. So as you can see, it's a difficult subject to work with because we're dealing with people's emotions. You might very well set off literally as well from a situation like this, maybe the road's narrowing a little bit further up, and have it in your mind what you think is going to happen. But this vehicle to my side could act in a different way, so you have to be adaptable, you have to be changeable, and that's no different than any other aspect of driving. Always be ready to submit, that's crucial. Please do stand up for what's right up to a certain point, but don't push it beyond that level. If you've got someone who wants to battle, let them battle with themselves. That's about it. That's wrapped that one up. Like I said, it's quite a complex little subject, but it's one that I'm constantly tweaking with myself, and it's quite interesting because I'll feel different on a day-to-day basis. I won't do the same or probably make the same decisions 100 times out of 100, and that's the difficulty with it. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for your support and watching to the end. Keep safe, and I'll see you all soon. Submissive. I wasn't going to battle with that one. Perfect timing.